Podcast America.
Welcome to Aaron Ask America. On today's episode, I am interviewing my oldest son, Brett. He will say nothing but good things about me. I was a perfect father, especially as a 19-year-old. I had everything already figured out. So it'll be a very exciting, very pro-me conversation today. So first of all, I want to thank Brett for being here. Today we have you for a short time, maybe a different time we can have you on for longer, but you had Chandler come on here, and Chandler and I's conversation kind of went everywhere.
Yeah. That was funny. If you could believe it, it was more Chandler's idea than mine.
Yeah, because
So-
he actually posted on my not my Facebook, but my YouTube, one of the episodes was like, hey, I want to be on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who this person is, because, again, I don't know who's watching it, and I should have known because it says, I think his name's like Chandler or something. I should have put two and two together, and I didn't.
Yeah. Well, with Chandler, I had mentioned your podcast to him, and I said the whole gimmick of the podcast was that you were going to talk to average people. So he was like, "Oh, I can just do that, and then from there I can go to Rogan." So I was like, I thought he was joking, but then he kept talking about it, and I was like, "Oh, he's serious." So I was like trying to facilitate that, and then I mentioned that I don't know exactly the timeline because my timelines are always so messed up, but I remember at some point I asked him like, "Hey, do you want my dad's information?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So
Yeah.
I facilitated that, and then he got on the show.
He got on the show real fast, and he made a declarative statement that you now have the ability to retort to. He said, I do not like Ben 10. Ben 10 is not a good show.
I know. Listen, he and I are on the rocks right now in terms of our
The
our
friendship became very, very rocky after
Yeah.
the podcast.
Well, he was always more of a Generator Rex guy.
Yeah.
I was a Ben 10 guy. Generator Rex is a fantastic show made by exactly the same people.
Yeah.
It was a good show, and it dealt with a lot more adult themes. I grew up with Ben 10. Generator Rex came after, and there was a really awesome crossover between the two shows. So honestly, I mean, it's fine. You know, and people, us as men of God, we have to accept that sometimes people have the wrong way of thinking, and it's on us to pray for them.
It's true.
Yeah,
Chandler, if you're watching, we're praying for you, buddy.
I pray for you daily.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning, because that's the whole point of me wanting to talk to people and get to know people. I mean, I know your beginning. I was there before your beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm here now. So, but the people that are watching that may come across this, whether it be in a week or 2 years or something like that. So you're 25, right? And so like you grew up in an era where like Blue's Clues was like the thing when you were growing up. We had just come across a Funko Pop yesterday that like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I have to buy it for Brett. And then found out that you already have it, so I was very sad because I was wanting to surprise you with it.
Yeah.
But
I told Dexter I didn't have that one.
oh, okay. Well, he said that his response was that you had it, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean I still can't surprise you with it, but I really wanted to surprise you with
Yeah.
it. But like for the people that may be older or younger than you, like growing up, like what was the thing to do for you? Because like you know me, because you're my son. We've talked about lots of things already, so like He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe was like our thing growing up. But like, what was the big thing that was for you growing up?
Oh, like the big media?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you it all depends on decade. So if we go all the way back to like the Blue's Clues era, it's basically that. It was Blue's Clues and things of that nature, but ultimately, like, I don't know what like the trend was for like little baby shows. People didn't start, I don't know, like having established like Kings of the Hill in terms of TV shows until what's known as like the Cartoon Network golden age was hit. So there was obviously things for Disney and things for Nickelodeon, stuff like SpongeBob. That's timeless. You already know that's
Still going on too.
that is, in my opinion, that is our Mickey Mouse.
SpongeBob.
1000%.
Yeah. Who makes SpongeBob?
What, like Steven Hillenburg or like Nickelodeon?
So like, is there like a SpongeBob world? Like, can you go to like a theme park where SpongeBob is there?
Yeah. So Paramount is what made SpongeBob. So therefore, Universal is connected to SpongeBob. I don't know if they have like a SpongeBob land, which I feel like they'd be really missing out if they didn't have a SpongeBob
Well, so if
land.
Universal owned SpongeBob, then there was probably like SpongeBob stuff. Dexter, when you went to Universal, was there SpongeBob stuff?
I was not that
Oh,
far.
okay, so he wasn't at that park, but there was SpongeBob stuff there. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's kind of, they've just incorporated him into it. So anyway,
Yeah.
back to what you were saying, like SpongeBob is y'all's Mickey Mouse.
SpongeBob is definitely our Mickey Mouse. He is going to be probably as ubiquitous as Mickey Mouse in the same way that anyone who sees him knows it's SpongeBob, even if they haven't like looked at him.
Yeah.
But
I could hear him, like I've never really sat down and watched SpongeBob, but if I heard a laugh, I would know it was his.
you know it's his.
I would get what's Patrick? I would know Patrick's laugh because
Yeah.
his laugh is pretty
Yeah.
iconic. So there's certain things that have busted through pop culture even to my old age.
Yeah.
That it's affected me too.
Yeah. I can tell you that as much as I disagree with reality on this, Ben 10 is not like as ubiquitously known. But here's something that I will fight, and I this is kind of weird. I believe that it is. No one talks about it though. If you bring up Ben 10 to a group of kids my age, every single one of them will be like, "I remember that show." They just don't talk about it. If we look at the numbers, Ben 10, the original series, gave Warner Brothers $8 billion. So it is a crazy successful series. It is like one of the greats. People say that it almost like built Cartoon Network when it came to its action block. Because a lot of the time it was Hanna-Barbera cartoons and things of that
The
nature.
beginning of
Yes.
cartoon.
When Ben 10 came to the scene, it established itself as an action show first, with comedy as a backdrop, and that was important. So around that time, we had Ben 10 and Teen Titans. So they established them.
the serious the serious Teen Titans,
Yes.
not the goofy one that came about later on.
Yes. So Teen Titans, as we know them today, was started around the same time as Ben 10. So I believe they both started around like 2003. And then Teen Titans went on a bit longer than Ben, because Ben 10 ended in 2008 and Teen Titans ended in 2010. But that was around the same action block.
Yeah.
So it had established itself as the kind of almost like action channel. So they started doing more shows like Generator Rex, like stuff like Dragonheart, if anybody remembers that. Fun fact about Dragonheart, by the way, that is in the Invincible universe, Dragonheart. So we might potentially see Dragonheart cameos in the new season.
Possibly.
Which would be insane, because I knew Dragonheart before I even knew who Invincible was.
Well, Invincible, I think, if I remember correctly, started around 2003 as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Invincible.
There's so many properties that are in that universe that I never knew. Like Spawn apparently is in that universe, and
Permission from Todd McFarlane to do that.
yeah, but still,
But even Spawn had Batman, Superman, Thor, and Hulk in like an issue.
yeah,
But all that to say, it's like so your jam, of course, I know has been 10 and all that, but like beyond like the TV scope, like was there like a game?
was there a game?
Well, no. Let me finish my question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Was there like a game that you would get together and play, like when you would go to church and see your friends from church, or because like the Harrison and all the kids from over here, you didn't really start hanging out with till way later on. But as far as like the the 10 to 12-year-old or 8 to 10-year-old version of Brett? Was there like a game that you and your friends created that y'all played? Did y'all do anything like that?
Oh, you're not talking about video games. You're just talking about games.
Just general, just
I mean, I don't know. We just kind of hung out for the most part. I mean, it all depends, like, especially when it was about church, because there was so little that you could do without, like, doing something incorrect. Because if we tried to, like, play a game, right, if we're not just talking about, like, the games we played in Awanas, right, which was different kinds of stuff. We had, like, ring toss. We had, like, a pseudo dodgeball. We had stuff like that. But if we're just talking about like stuff I would go out and actively seek out to do with them, I mean, we couldn't like really run around. We couldn't really be like loud. We couldn't really be active without getting in trouble. So there wasn't a whole lot that we were able to do back at church. And then, obviously, if we're talking about like, I don't know, just like make-believe stuff, it is kind of a funny thought that I predominantly liked to, like, I don't know, like almost like act out scenarios, like play pretend stuff, and then later on in my life, I ended up playing D&D, which is essentially just doing that with rules.
right. So like Richard, do you remember that guy?
I sort of remember Richard, yes.
Richard, your fake best friend.
Oh yes,
That guy. That's the guy I'm talking about. You had an imaginary friend for a really long time.
I
Richard.
never had an imaginary friend named Richard.
You
You imposed a name, Richard, because of my ADHD, would speak a lot of what's going on into my mind so that I could focus it better. So when I would talk, I was kind of saying what was on my mind, and you would hear me talking to myself because, again, I'm trying to focus, and you'd be like, "Oh, you're talking to Richard again." And that was what you would say.
So that's what you remember. I distinctly remember at Momo and Pawpaw's house, you would go and look into their mirror, and you would talk to yourself in the mirror.
Okay.
And then we would say, "Who are you talking to?" Kind of joking. You're like Richard, or who's Richard? And then you would just start talking. And so, like, but yeah, if you want to blame me,
I don't know. I've never heard of this Richard
take,
guy. I do remember I used to like play pretend with myself because I was bored.
Well, Richard was very short-lived, for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, there was moments where you had a really awesome best friend named Richard that was just you by yourself. Another thing out there that you probably haven't thought of in a while, maybe, was Tobias. You were a huge fan. Was it? Tobuscus.
Tobuscus. Yes.
That was one of those moments where, like, me as a dad, I was like, "What's going on with this guy?" As far as music wise, because it was interesting. Because that was also at the same time of what like Fred and the Annoying Orange. Like, it was a very interesting time in both the world of YouTube and also your consumption of driving me crazy.
So there was more. I liked Tobuscus because he was funny and he knew what to say to like make me laugh. He had a really good gaming channel. It's a shame to see what happened to him, but because he's still trying to go back to do what he was doing, which is doable. But now he's like, I don't know, he's a very kind of almost political guy. And although I agree with most of his politics, he is a man who is predominantly known for being apolitical, trying to dip into the political landscape, and it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So
especially when you're known for making kid music.
Yeah.
Like goofy kid music, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it should have just stuck to, like, you should have just stuck to making funny music videos about minotaurs being allergic to tartar sauce.
Yeah.
Like,
do you look back on that music and like why do you look back when you think of that name, not all the stuff outside of YouTube,
right,
but actually just the music? Do you look back on that at a time where you're like with fondness at all?
So I remember when I was younger. I remember when I because I was able to get my hands on an MP3 player, and you would download the songs I would ask onto the MP3 player. And I remember when you were downloading a Tobuscus song, you looked at me and you said, 10, 15 years down the line, you're going to look back and you're going to say, what did I listen to?
We all do that to some degree. But
And
yeah.
here we are. I'm
Yes.
25.
Hold on. I'm ready. Say it to me.
I love Tobuscus's music. I mean, I'm not out here bumping, Mini Minotaur, but I still think Safety Torch is hilarious. I think Nugget in a Biscuit is still catchy. It had a resurgence like 5 years ago, maybe even less than that. I think that it was catchy. It was whatever. He was our Weird Al Yankovic, Dad. That was the whole gimmick.
Yeah,
In the same way that you maybe liked Weird Al's music.
Still do.
And yeah, that's how I am with Tobuscus. He is our Weird Al.
Just didn't last as long and wasn't as popular. Because
Yeah.
Weird Al's still around.
He could have kept going.
Yeah.
He
True.
could have kept doing it. He didn't change with the times.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he did, but in the wrong way.
Right.
But yeah, no, I love Tobuscus's music. But yeah, there was definitely a lot more. People like Smosh, Shane Dawson, things of those nature, and they're all super washed up now. I mean, iDubbbz got it the worst. I mean, these people, these guys, these monoliths of entertainment that made their money off of what I find to be the most cherished. I mean, I don't even know right now. I mean, the whole iDubbbz situation is just a catastrophe.
I don't want to go too much into that. I want to keep it more about you. So one of the questions that I thought of to ask you, and I know we're a little bit crunched on time today, and we'll come back and do this again when we have more time. But like I've always wondered, because I've never asked you, like what was what? And again, this is not a negative question because I don't, if you're having fun, you keep doing it. But like, what drew you to D&D? Like, what was the thing that you saw where you're like, I need to at least try this out one time?
So there's two different avenues for that. So the first was a Verve original. If you ever know what the streaming service Verve was,
Nope.
It's okay. Most people didn't. That's why it failed. Verve was a streaming service that tried to sell you free things, so it failed immediately.
Oh, okay.
It was terrible because it had originals and they were fantastic. Stuff like Last Man, which was a French TV series about a boxer who was fighting essentially like a whole slew of these like interdimensional demons. It's this crazy lore. It's fantastic. It was dubbed by a lot of really, really talented famous.
And they're not like on Crunchyroll or YouTube.
Gone.
They're all gone.
Gone. You have to go on Internet Archive to find it.
Interesting.
And like it's gone. And it was a fantastic work. So like all that was gone because they backed the wrong horse. But one of the things that was off, and I think it is on either Netflix or like Hulu, but it is saved, is a thing called HarmonQuest. Now this was essentially Dan Harmon's attempt. Do you know who Dan Harmon is? Guy who made Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Dan Harmon's attempt to do what Vin Diesel did, if you remember Diesel.
No.
So
I have never. The only time I've dipped my toe into D&D is a one time you talked me doing a one shot,
Right.
And then Stranger Things. That's
Yeah.
all. That's
So HarmonQuest was a TV series about Dan Harmon and Spencer Crittenden and a few other people who get a celebrity guest to try or return to D&D, and they basically turn it into a big improv thing. But the gimmick that got me watching it was that they animated what they did as they said it.
oh okay.
And it's really funny. And like they would kind of like make a caricature, so like one of the actors plays a goblin, so they like draw his face as like green and like on a little goblin.
So they did a lot of post production to make the episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds interesting for sure.
It's fun. And I mean, it's really funny. I mean, I recommend it. And I saw it and I was like, this is what D&D is. I want to do that. So then I went to the D&D night at an old comic book store that I liked going to. I got a buddy of mine, James. Shout out James. He set me up and we played this game called War of the Spark, which is based on the card game Magic the Gathering. It was mind-blowing. It made me realize that D&D is more than just comedy. D&D can be an interactive TV series, and I wanted to take it up to the next level. I loved the concept of being able to play a TV series, and I became enthralled with the idea of making it more and more and more into this thing where you really feel like this big production is about you and your characters.
Yeah.
So then I created my game, which is Planesbreakers, which is my attempt at making it the most like a TV series. So there's intros, there's outros, there's like start bumpers and end bumpers, which is like there's like these little skits that happen before and after the episodes. There's cliffhangers, there's twists. If they're paying attention, they can like figure something out before it happens. And presentation is the number one thing for these D&D games. And then after that, 5 years happened, and the rest was history.
Yeah. Isn't D&D responsible for you meeting your wife?
Not necessarily, but it was responsible for
Because it was
us.
at the comic book shop, right?
Me and my wife?
Yeah, I thought you met her at the comic book shop.
Actually, we met online.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had met her at the comic book
Oh,
store.
okay. For some reason, I thought that y'all's origin was at the comic book shop.
No, so I was on Discord. I was mostly just looking for dates on Discord, which was a terrible decision. Never, ever, ever, ever do that. I got insanely lucky. God was smiling on me. I was given providence that will not work for you. So I went on there. After running into 3 different guys who said they were women, I found Nicole. She was really, really, really funny. And I realized that funny women need to be
Taken and never letting go.
Yes, you need to grab
Yes.
on.
Because that's one of the things I always joke with your mom about. I'm like, why are you trying to be funny? You're not funny.
Yeah.
Because she'll say something, and then I'll be like, why are you trying to be funny? You're not funny.
Yeah.
And then Elise is funny, right? She has got more of my personality than you and Dexter do.
Yeah.
So she's funny by nature, but then she'll say something, and I'll be like, no, that's your mom, and you don't do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, so that clears that up. For some reason, maybe because y'all had met up at that specific comic book store a couple of times. Maybe I heard you say that, and maybe that's how I thought you met. I don't know. But-
There was a girl I dated that I brought to the comic book
Maybe
store.
that's what it was. I could have swore that's, but ultimately, I'm glad you cleared that up because I've been going around lying about you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, Brett met his wife at a comic book store. They were like made for each other. But it's
No.
saying that you met her on Discord is basically saying the same thing.
Yeah, but
you both are
like,
on Discord. Y'all were made for each other.
You know what? I think we can stick with the comic book story.
Okay.
It sounds better if I'm being honest.
My son met his wife. He was doing this D&D campaign, and then he opened up a door, and there she was.
There she was.
This elvish queen that was waiting for him, and
She plays a bird person, which is even funnier.
this bird lady that he fell in love with because he loves birds.
Yeah.
But so you go to this comic book store,
Okay.
and you sit down. When you said James brought you, y'all sit down, you play. You're like. Because you grew up in my house, so
Yes.
you know that you were. There was a lot of media because I love movies. There was a
Yes.
lot of video games because I love video games. So you were raised in an environment where consumption, not so much creativity, was presented to you, right? So
Right.
you go here, you consume this D&D, and then it just lights you up in the creative realm, which is awesome.
Yes.
And you're like, hey, I love this. I love meeting up with my friends, and then you started doing what you're doing, and even though that's not my thing, you've always wanted to include me in it, and I've always been honored to that because there's not a lot, you hear the animosity, or not animosity, but like just not
The stigma.
clicking. Like my dad and I, right? We get along very well, right?
Yeah.
But like I never really invited him to do anything outside of just being my dad. I asked him to do this, and because my dad, how he is now,
Right.
he said he didn't want to, and I get it. Even though I think if we got on here and started talking, I think we'd have a good time talking.
It'd be a good
about-
episode.
because there's not a lot I know about my dad, and you may feel the same way. Like I don't know how he grew up. Like I know his best friend was Will, and I know a couple of things that he did. one of my biggest regrets as an adult is Kevin Smith, the director. He said that you should do a podcast with all your friends or your grandparents or something like that, just so you always have it. So I always had this idea to do a podcast, not like this, but just sit down and interview Grandma Blaine. And when she passed, I was like, that was a very much missed opportunity, because if I would have sat down with her and did like a 2 or 3 hour just conversation with her, because Grandma was funny and she had a life. She lived a life. She married a white guy as a Hispanic when it wasn't something that was looked upon in a positive way at all, right? So there's no telling the kinds of things that her and my grandpa went through as a mixed couple, because that was like 1920s or 1930s or whatever, how old they were, because she was like 95 when she died.
Right.
So, but yeah, so asking me back to pull it back, my ADHD got the best of me, but to pull it back pull the boat back. But I was even though I kind of goofed around with it, I still when I think about it, it was fun, just because I kept asking people for $5, and one of your friends, I don't know which one it was, like he had the ability to like spawn whatever he wanted to, so he spawned like $5 million, but then I still kept asking everybody for $5 million or for $5. But so I get the idea behind it, as far as writing something out and playing this story that you've conjured up yourself with your friends, going through it, seeing them conquer beings that you've created.
Yeah.
Or not conquer them and die. So I really do think the idea of D&D is cool. It's just not. I would lose my mind doing it.
I think with D&D, I believe that there is a piece of D&D that could work for anybody. But I believe, like you said, there's got to be like attention span. Most of my games now last about max 2 hours. I know I said that was how it was the last time, but I've gotten a lot better at time management.
I want to say we start at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
and I was like I got to go at like 1.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to go, bro.
I was really embarrassed. Nowadays, I'm a lot better at managing time and keeping pace.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say about D&D, and it's the reason why I've invited you and I've invited as many people as I can, is because I don't know, I've always had like a way to tell stories, and I've always liked the connection that it brings. The one thing I will say to any DMs out there is be obsessed with your players. And I am very much obsessed with the players that I have for Planesbreakers. And then there's another game I'm running called Interloper, which is actually a prequel fan prequel game from a book series. And I was actually given the green light from the author herself to do it. So I've become obsessed with the author because now she's a part of this, and I've become obsessed with my players. So if my players like things, I'll try to like reference it in there, because it shows them that I'm paying attention. Like, for example, I don't know if you remember, but the officer that you were working with was Officer Black.
I don't remember anything about
Really?
anything. I really don't.
It was I put the officer you were working as the cleaner.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
I get it. So, were you playing Officer Black?
I was playing Officer Black.
Okay, so I was the cleaner and you were Officer Black. That's funny.
Yeah. No, remember Bill Black is.
I know who Bill Black is. Yeah.
That's the cleaner.
Yeah.
So he was the officer you were working with.
Right. But
Yeah.
I was the cleaner, right?
No. You weren't the cleaner. I was playing the cleaner.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying that like I was the cleaner and you were Bill Black. I see what you're saying.
I was playing the cleaner.
You were actually playing Bill Black, the cleaner.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was referencing
But
the
you
thing.
never owed me an apology.
If you remember, he punched a guy and said that.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I remember. I really don't remember.
Yeah,
well,
but like
I don't even know if Dexter's seen that movie. Dexter, have you seen my movie called The Cleaner?
The cleaner?
I think Dexter would like it because he likes
me as a little kid.
Well, no, he likes punchy stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So like we had to film a superhero movie in 48 hours, and we made this movie with Brett and a few other people. And the superpower was he would punch people in the stomach. He would tap Brett tapped this guy on. I owe you an apology. And the guy turns around and goes, "For what?" He boom right in the stomach.
Yeah.
It was we filmed that thing in 48 hours, and then it played in a movie theater.
His power was petty crime.
Yeah, petty
sense.
crime sense.
That's great.
But we had to film it in 48 hours. But maybe we should do something like that. We should recreate it as adults. Well, I mean,
I've been saying that. I said that we should do this. I was like, I think it'd be funny if we recreate it. I have a wife now. So, I mean, it feels weird, like, replacing mom's role. But, I mean, we could do the whole thing again.
It's a reboot. People get replaced.
Yeah, but we could reshoot the whole thing. We don't have the couch anymore, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Because there was the chair that was right here. But yeah, no, we could do it. I'm super down to redo that. But
that would be pretty funny.
it would be hilarious. But
back to movies real quick because we are running out of time. I want to be respectful for your Bible study tonight. So
Right.
let me ask you this, because you told me beforehand that you've never seen Face Off or Con Air. So, but before the next time you come on this stream, see if you can watch both of those. Tell me which one you think is better, and then we'll go from there. But the question that I have, for at least from a movie perspective, is if there was one movie that you could pick that would define, like, either your childhood or your adulthood, like your go-to. If there was a movie where you're like, I just need to sit down, veg out, here's the movie, go.
that's an easy one. For my childhood, it is the animated Transformers movie.
Really?
Hands down.
Technically from my childhood, but yes, I understand what you're talking about.
I love that movie. I have it
Yeah.
3 different ways. I have it digitally in Ultra HD. I have the Blu-ray copy, and I have a Ultra HD copy. I also, I have more. So I have the 35th anniversary edition that you gave me. Then I found the collector's edition at a Goodwill, so I picked that up immediately. So I have all of those versions.
Yeah.
I love that movie. It is such a good movie.
And you know how proud of you that makes me as your father?
That film, like, it instilled the kind of tone that I wanted to do. And for the Planesbreakers, no doubt, watching this episode, that is literally the tone that I was going for pretty much every season of the show, of kind of like this battle, but there's, I don't know, there's like this over-the-top nature to it, and it's like, it's more or less like a battle of themes, but they know when to just crank it to 11. I mean, they fought a planet by going into his body and lighting up a god
Matrix.
nuke. Yeah. Because, I mean, the whole story is like that's like the last piece of like their version of God. So they essentially just opened up Jesus Christ inside of Satan, and then he like died. And it was so awesome. I love that. And then if the movie that informed, like, the movie that I can go to and sit down as an adult and watch is a little harder to answer, because I love movies like the John Wick films. I love Nobody. I love those kinds of movies. But if, I don't know.
You can just stick with the John Wick stuff.
The John Wick stuff, I really could just like...
Because John Wick is a movie, 1 through 4, whichever one,
Right.
where you can literally just sit down, hit the play button. Not so much with the first one, because there is a little bit of space between the beginning of the movie and when he starts killing people. But, like, you can sit down and watch all of them and just sit back and relax and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Like, for me personally, my favorite one is 4 now, just because of all of the fighting that goes on. For me, because I've seen so many movies.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to, like, really get into it. But, like, I remember, like, after that first 45-minute fight scene in Japan, like, when he just got done fighting Kane, wasn't his name Kane, the guy that was blind? I think that was his name, Kane.
Yeah.
He was just like, and I was like, I feel the same way, and I didn't do nothing. I was just sitting here watching this. And I was thinking out of breath from watching him fight so much. And then there was the shotgun dragon's breath scene when the camera was over the top of him.
It's a great
and
shot.
then there's a moment where He gets all the way up to the stairs, right? It's like a 15-minute fight scene where he gets up the stairs and the dude kicks him and he falls off. Dude, Dexter was rolling. He was laughing so hard because like he just rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls and then Kane's like, "Hey, dude, we got like 6 minutes. We got to get up there."
Yeah.
But yeah, John Wick is a set of movies that I own all 4 of them.
They're so good.
Yeah.
And then if I had to pick one out of the 3 or out of the 4, it is the third one. I love the third one.
Yeah.
That opening fight scene where he fought that basketball player and with the book.
Yeah, just
I was
boom,
like,
boom.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is peak.
Or the stuff with the knives where they were throwing knives at each other. And
I hate that.
And he just keeps, like he hits one, and then
Yeah, they
keeps
keep
hitting the
bouncing,
same guy.
Yeah, they keep bouncing off of each other,
Yeah.
and then like the final with the eye. Dude, I can't even watch the eye scene. But everything else about that movie is
So
great.
real quick, because we're really out of time at this point.
Okay.
So you don't like the eyeball stuff. So what do you think about the eyeball stuff? Not getting into spoiler territory, but what about the eyeball stuff from Superman? No, even that bothered you?
I can't.
Oh, okay.
I can't. I hate that.
Okay. All right. Well, it is the 45 mark.
Okay.
Or at least time wise, not how much I think we probably only recorded for about 30 or so minutes, but be respectful of your time. I know I want you to come back because we didn't cover anything like I wanted to. But everybody that's on here, right? We ask like if you have any sort of words of wisdom, if you want to make it about D&D, if you want to make it about life, if you want to make it about the gospel, you can. This is your time to look the audience straight in the face or me straight in the face and just give words of wisdom from a 25-year-old man,
right.
halfway to 30.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I'm 25 years old, and the one thing I will tell you from my observations throughout my life as a kid is do not ever be ashamed of your faith or your morals. Don't play their game. I know you want to reach people, and I know you want to show people the love of God. I would do too. But the only way that you do that is if you give it to them unfiltered. Because sooner or later they're going to learn the truth, even if they accept what you've given them. You, as a man of God, have to stand on your morals 100%, no matter what it makes you look like. Because if they think that way about you, they were going to think that way about you from the beginning. The best thing that you can give them is the truth. And I put the truth in everything that I try to do. And that includes my D&D games. A lot of my players understand that God is a heavy part of the story of Planaines Breakers. And without giving spoilers, because the game's almost over, I will tell you that God is the answer to a lot of your problems. The only way that we can fix anything is with the connection with Christ. There is everything else just comes after that. So pray, and if you're already praying, pray harder.
All right. Well, Brett, thank you so much for being on the show. I know that we'll have you back on again for sure, so we can cover more ground. But until then, you have homework: Face Off, Con Air.
And Con Air. I think
This is important.
Yeah.
Should have my pastor on here pretty soon. I'm even going to ask him, even though I know he hasn't seen either one of them. I'm going to be like, all right, important question of the day.
Yeah.
What movie's better, Face Off or Con Air? He's gonna be like, I haven't seen any of them. All right, but with that being said, this has been Aaron Ask America. Thanks for watching.
Aaron Ask America, we're talking real life. Truth, love, and struggle, no filters, no hype. From the heart of the people to the soul of the land, he's asking the questions you'll understand. Aaron Ask America.